Join me for a weekend of homemaking as we discuss 5 ways to simplify our lives in order to seek the sacred in every day. Welcome back to Simple Sacred Home. My name is Paige, and today I'm taking you through a very realistic weekend in my life of homemaking. Over the course of the last few weeks, we in our home have been focusing on changing some of our habits, especially around nutrition and physical movement every day. And because of that, we've had to really take a look at our routines and our rhythms in our home and really see what is a priority to us and start making those small changes every day to make sure that what we want to be a priority is a priority. A lot of times we just go through the daily tasks of life, and while something might be a priority in our mind, we're not actually taking the steps to make it a priority in our daily life. And so you will see in the course of this video that while homemaking is normally a top priority for me, and so I try to put that on the top of my list of things to accomplish in any given day, the last couple of weeks it has not been as high of a priority, and that's okay. If you have different priorities in a certain season, or maybe you just need to look at your habits and you say, okay, maybe my nutrition isn't where I would like it to be. Maybe I'm not moving my body and exercising regularly, and that is something that I do want to prioritize. For a season, for a little bit of time, you might have to put those things as a higher priority than your homemaking, and that's okay. I think we can all admit that we live in a society and a culture that fills us with distractions, that makes us feel like we're constantly busy and we're constantly being productive, when in reality, a lot of the times we're not. And so, especially if we're finding ourselves wanting to achieve new goals, learn new skills, create new habits, create healthier habits, if those things are important to us and we feel as if we can't accomplish them because we're so busy, we have so much going on, we're constantly distracted, then it's more and more of a reason to focus on living a simpler life. And in doing that, you'll have more opportunities to learn the skills, reach the goals, and live without the overwhelm that constantly being distracted causes. One of the main reasons why I started this channel, Simple Sacred Home, is to really encourage you as well as myself to seek the sacred moments in every day. I believe that the sacred is all around us, but usually we're so distracted that we don't stop and slow down to see it. So that desire to see the sacred in the everyday, in the mundane, see the beauty that's all around us, see the moments where Jesus is so present and walking so closely with us that we normally miss it. Living a simpler life is going to allow us to be able to see those moments, to not let those moments pass us by, because life is short and I want to be as present as possible every single day. So while I work on giving my bedroom a spring refresh, I thought I'd share 5 encouraging tips to simplify your life. So the number 1 tip is to take inventory of your priorities. It can be your individual priorities, it can be your priorities as a family, and say, what are the non-negotiable priorities in our lives? I would write them down or put them in a voice memo on your phone and really see if what you're doing day to day is allowing you to actually fulfill those priorities, or is it just a priority in your head, but you're not actually doing the daily tasks to make it a priority. So for example, in your head, you might say, homemaking is a priority to me, or eating healthy foods is a priority, or working out is a priority. In your head, they might be priorities, but if you're sleeping in, so you're not getting your workout in, or you're getting home from work and you're doing everything but cleaning your home, then while it might be a priority in your head, you're not actually working towards those goals. And so we have to look and say, why aren't we doing them? And a lot of times it comes down to we feel like we don't have time. I recently heard a quote where somebody said, if you think about all the times that you say, oh, I can't do this because I don't have time, if you change that and instead think of, for everything that you say, I can't do that because I don't have enough time, if you say, well, that's just not a priority to me, that's really going to make you think a little bit more seriously about what it is that you're talking about. Because ultimately, if something is a priority to you, you are going to find the time to do it. And if it's not a priority, you won't make the time. And so I think a lot of times it comes down to it's not truly a priority, or we're just letting other things, distractions, mindless scrolling, and things of that nature take the place, and it'll make us feel like we don't have time when we really do. We're just filling it with things that ultimately are just wasting our time. The second tip I would consider when trying to simplify your life is to look at the wasted time throughout your day. For me, I found that spending time on social media was a huge waste of my time. Part of what I do here on YouTube is share about my home, about simple living, about homemaking, and creating sacred, beautiful spaces. And I show my thrift and antique finds. And for so long, I've tried to balance having an Instagram account and also Pinterest and YouTube, even though my YouTube is fairly new. And what I just found is that trying to split my time between all of those different platforms was just taking away so much of my time rather than allowing me to focus on one area. So for me personally, YouTube is somewhere that I love to not only watch videos, but create content for. I love the community that's on YouTube, and I love the space I'm in on YouTube. And so I can really just put on a YouTube video in the background while I'm doing my homemaking tasks, or while I'm working out, or while I'm cooking. Then I can turn it off. Whereas I feel like with other social media apps like TikTok or Instagram, Twitter/X, Facebook, I find that those sites can really harm your mental health. I think there's great things about them, but I also think there's extremely negative sides to those sites. And I just found that for me personally, I was wasting a lot of time on there. I would convince myself that I was being productive, but I was wasting so much of my day just mindless scrolling, trying to keep up with everything and everyone. And for me personally, I just decided to delete those apps. So if you've been here for a little while and you've seen, I've shared that I have an Instagram, Simple Sacred Home. I ended up deleting the app, and I deleted my Facebook, even though I love Facebook Marketplace. Like I said, there's some great things about those sites, but there's also some not great things. And I just took a look at my priorities and I said, okay, I can try to do all of this, or I can focus my attention on areas that I'm really passionate about and make sure I'm utilizing my time the best that I can. Just think about the amount of time throughout your day that you grab your phone, even if you think it's for a couple of minutes to, decompress, and you go to Pinterest or you go to Instagram or you go to TikTok, wherever it is that you like to spend your time when you have a free moment. And just think about the other things you could be doing with that time, because these apps are designed to keep us on them. And so what can feel like just a few minutes is actually throughout the day a lot of our time. If you've never set a timer for your apps on your phone or just your overall screen time, I highly recommend it, because I was shocked to realize how much time I was actually spending on my phone in any given day. The third tip I have for you when it comes to simplifying your life is really take inventory of the amount of items you have in your home. In this video, I was giving my bedroom a refresh for spring, and I also did tackle my spare bedroom a little bit. It is going to be in an upcoming video, but I went through that room and I had stuff in there that I have collected, things I've got at the thrift store, things that I picked up that I'm just not using. And I try very hard not to buy things that I don't have a space for, that I don't already know when I buy them how I'm going to use them, where I'm going to put them. But every once in a while something does creep in and I just find myself not using it. Or maybe I purchased it and I had a vision of what I was going to do with it, and then it didn't work out the way that I wanted to, or I just realized that I wasn't using it as much as I thought I would. Those are the items in our home that just take up space. They create clutter, they create dust, they make it harder to clean, and they can create so much overwhelm that they're not worth having in your home. So I recommend at least once a month going through your home and really taking inventory of the items in your space. The fourth tip I have for simplifying your life is learning to say no. If you are a natural people pleaser, this can be really hard. If you get fear of missing out on opportunities, this can be really hard as well. But I found the older that I get, the more I realize that we cannot do it all. At some point, something does have to give, because if you try to do it all, you're going to be so burnt out. It's going to cause you to not be able to get anything accomplished. And so learn to say no. Make your best yes, which we all have different priorities. And so that's going to look differently for everybody. But one of the things that we like to do as a family is try to really keep our weekends open. Allow room for the Holy Spirit's leading. If He wants us to stay home and work on our home, we're going to do that. If He gives us an opportunity to meet with family or friends, we'll do that. And that's great. And there's a time and place for it all. But the tendency can be to book our schedules so full that every day of the week we have an event going on. Every weekend we have something going on. And of course, that is not sustainable long term. And the last tip that I will leave you guys with today for living a simplified life is to remember that it is okay to want to live a simplified life. And it's actually quite biblical. Many will acknowledge that Jesus Himself lived a very simple life. We learn about His birth, and then we don't hear from Him for many years. And it isn't until He reaches around 30 years of age, enters His full ministry here on earth. 1 Thessalonians 4:9 says, "Now concerning brotherly love, you have no need for anyone to write to you, for you yourselves have been taught by God to love one another. For that indeed is what you are doing to all the brothers throughout Macedonia." but we urge you, brothers and sisters, to do this more and more, and to aspire to live quietly, and to mind your own affairs, and to work with your hands as we instructed you, so that you may walk properly before outsiders and to be dependent on no one. Hope this video was an encouragement to you, and I will see you guys next week for another video.